Alright, so I want to test how much my bowmen do actually on rebel leaders. So I need to know who does what, and I have some green ones, I have a purple one, I have a gold one. So for example, let's say, if we take for example Crevasse, he's only green, so he does probably only 110% damage. In comparison to a gold one who does 200% damage. So we have to really realize that and calculate afterwards. So let's start frontline Chris, and then we just put an archer behind it and see what happens. So let's see. We have Sansa behind Chris frontline. And let's start and let's see what damage we got. On a level 1 Bolton's Boy, 34% damage. It's decent, I guess. Let's put Sauron. Sauron frontline. And we actually do 27%. I don't expect that. It should be more. Okay, let's try Melisandre now. And it does 29% damage, which is more. That doesn't make any sense. So let's see what's happening. What is happening in battle? Actually, Melisandre is just being butchered first, and they completely ignore Chris. So let's try plan B, frontline Sansa. We have Melisandre, Sauron and Sansa. Let's go in, see the damage. We actually do 27% damage. Well, we went to a Bolton's Boy level 2, so that's a bit of a difference. And if we actually check the battle, it doesn't go that bad. Sansa is actually being able to sustain perfectly in this. So that's great. She takes damage, so she heals faster because she regains faster strategy points if she takes damage. So that's why you put a front line. So let's switch it out with Sheila. And we do 29% damage. So it's a little bit more, 2% more. Let's just try everyone. So let's go Tion. And he does a whopping 40%. Oh, holy. That's a lot more. So if you can see, Tion actually gets an attack buff and it keeps stacking. So every attack or 7th attack he gets, yes, every attack he gets his bonus attack buff. So you see already 3 swords is his name, and it's good with a bow, stacks up 5 times, deals 6,520 damage and stacks with his own attack, which is done 6,520. So let's try Melisandre and see what happens here. Oh, that's a little bit less. It's not that interesting actually. And we go Crevasse. That's even less. That's 10% less. What? Let's try Robert. And that's an interesting, also a lot less. And then we'll go lastly with just Melisandre. And then we only go with Sansa actually just to establish a baseline here. And then we'll see what happens there. Okay, that's okay. So then we quickly compile a list of all the data we gathered, where we actually made 3 small columns, one for the team damage, one for the damage solo from the new champion, and one what they would do when they would be gold. So hello tier list. So we have a little bit of a tier list here, and we actually use the elements that the game uses as well. Ancient, legendary, epic, rare and common. And let's start, I think we should start with Sansa, because we know Sansa well. If you can imagine, Sansa only did 4.81% damage. That's by far the lowest of all. However, if we do not bring Sansa, then others will die, thus lose damage as well. So that's really important to remember. So let's put her on rare. I think she's at least rare. I think she deserves that, but only because she is sometimes invaluable to keep your party alive, to make your party do more damage. Then next up is Melisandre, and what a disappointing damage she had. She had such a disappointing damage. So where you want to put her? You want to put her on common. So if you imagine where she is useful in the Weirwood, etc., you might find her worthy. But then I consider just simply, come on, you have to pay for this commander. You have to actually pay for this commander. So I don't think she's that interesting. Is it worth your money? Maybe to get through the Weirwood, but it's not even necessary. So I think that is a really a no-no on her, so I just put her on common. So then let's look at Crevasse. Calculated, he only does the least base damage. Imagine that he also has a poison debuff, which should do tick damage as well. I didn't see any of that. So let's put him on uncommon. I think you're the worst of all for now. And then we get to Tion. What an absolute monster. Calculated on gold, he does 54% damage. That is as gruesome in comparison. So I'm gonna take him and I'm gonna put him on ancient. He is absolutely the best monster to have if you want to clear rebel leaders. However, he's of course not free to play. So if you want to go for a commander and you want to clear rebel leaders, if that's your purpose, then he's absolutely the one. Then we get to Sheila. And I think I'm going to put her on Ancient too. Why? Because every 7th attack she provides a stun, and she is free to play. She's a free to play commander. And she actually does almost 10% more damage than a Sauron. So that's ridiculously high. That's absolutely crazy damage. So just because of the fact that she is actually a free to play commander. Okay, then we have Sauron. And he has the highest damage except for Sheila. In comparison with the others. But it's not that impressive. But if we look at the fact that we have to put him against rebel leaders, you actually want to have him as second, I guess a second pick if you have a free to play formation. And then if you consider that he also has research buff, etc., his talents are very good, so you want to get him as gold as well. So I'm gonna put him on epic. Lastly, Robert actually surprised me by his damage. It's not that bad, it's just a little bit under Sauron actually. So I'm gonna put him, I think, with Sansa. So for me, on rebel leaders, especially with free to play formation, you actually have 5 commanders right there. It's a decent list. But I'm gonna make one change, and I'm actually, because the comparison between Sheila and Theon is just too big. So I'm just gonna move this poor Sheila to the legendary branch, where she actually has her own little place in this whole list. So that's the tier list. That's how I would place them, and how useful them are, and how good you want to pick them to fight rebel leaders actually.